She is an icon, and if I reincarnate, I want to be her. Hey! So I always wanted to participate in a vinyl tag, so I thought that now that I have my channel and we're talking about music and records, we can get into this. I know they change every year, so I went and looked for the 2025 version, even though it's already July and but better late than never. And so I'm gonna follow the questions that were created by Pretty Green Vinyl Guy and talk to you a little bit about why I chose those records. Okay, so the first question says, best purchase of 2024, new or old? For me, it's gonna be this one, Monsters of Folk self-titled. And this one is a reissue, and I was really excited about this one because I think the first time that they pressed it, it was, just a limited amount of copies, and I never thought I would actually own it, and it's one of my favorite records ever. So when they announced that they were repressing it, I was so excited. Probably this is like one of my most valuable possessions, just for the anticipation and how much I really wanted this. And this time the cover is in sort of pink and teal. It was like sort of black and white, so it was a cool thing that they made it a bit different. Let me show you a bit more of what it has inside. So it is just, mine is just the clear version, but there were like a Barnes and Noble version, and I don't remember, like 2 or 3 versions. This is the Amazon one, just because that was the easiest one to get from where I live. And it also included a poster that I'm not gonna be able to show you, but it also has the lyrics. And so I'm really glad they did this. This was released back in, I don't remember, but no, it probably is like 2006. I'm gonna add the year here if I'm mistaken, but so that's why it was so exciting to get it back. Next question says, 50 years later, best album from 1974. It turns out I only have this record from 1974, but that's okay because I love this record. I am a little bit embarrassed to admit that I hadn't dug into Elton John's music until I went to see Rocketman a few years ago, and I fell in love with him and his music. It was the only thing I was listening to for a while, and so I got the chance to travel, and in one of the record shops I went to, they had this copy, and it's perfect. What else can I say? It has Your Song, Daniel, Honky Cat, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Rocketman, Candle in the Wind, Crocodile Rock, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. I mean, it speaks for itself. Question number 3, an album that defines a genre. I'm gonna go with Gang of Four Entertainment, just because I think that this is a classic in post-punk and British post-punk, and I think it's one of the first bands that I listened to it in that genre, and I think it sums it up pretty well, like the feeling and the lyrics and the attitude and the politics and just everything. Now, number 4 says, best band from your home country. I don't have many records from Mexican artists. I gotta say I would like to have some from Zoe. I had one from Jumbo at some point, but I don't have it anymore. But if we're talking about any Mexican artist, my favorite is Julieta Venegas. Even though it's not a band, she's Mexican and she's a great musician, and so I would recommend just anything from her, but maybe her earlier stuff. And this is a great record. This is called Limonizal, and it's one of the most famous ones, although yeah, I think I like the early stuff better. Now, 5. An artist you miss dearly. This may be an obvious answer, but Amy Winehouse. This was a record that I became obsessed with when I was, I think, around high school or university. And just Amy herself is, we're never gonna have another Amy. Her voice, her music, her style, everything was so different and so unique. And so I'm so sad that we only got to have 2 records from her. It would have been amazing to see her evolve and see her change with her unique style. So yeah, I will always miss her. Now, 6. Best live album in your collection. I don't listen that much to live music, honestly, and so I don't have a lot of live records, but I have a couple, and I'm gonna go with Bob Dylan and the band. This is called Before the Flood? Yes, Before the Flood. And, well, even though I'm not that much into live music, I think this is a great one. It has, Knocking on Heaven's Door, It Ain't Me, Babe, Don't Think Twice, It's Alright, Just Like a Woman, like all great hits, and I actually enjoyed this one. 7. Your partner just dumped you. What album are you putting on? I think this one is pretty easy for me. It's Taylor Swift's latest album, The Tortured Poets Department. I think that no matter what kind of relationship you had, if it was just a casual thing or a long-term thing, there's gonna be a song in here that you're gonna relate to. And I say that from experience, from me and my friends that have been in really different situations, and all of us have been able to relate to the same songs somehow. So I think this record is, even though Taylor talks about love and heartbreak a lot in her albums, I think this one is like the quintessential breakup album. Okay, number 8. Best sounding drums on an album. This one is interesting because I don't usually pay that much attention to certain instruments. I think I focus mostly on the lyrics and the guitar most of the time. But when I discovered the band Shame, I started noticing the drums and actually like concentrating on certain parts of certain songs because I enjoy the drums so much. That happened particularly with Food for Worms, with the song Fingers of Steel, but I don't have that album yet, so I'm gonna show another one that is a great example, which is Drunk Tank Pink. And yeah, I just listened to it and paid attention to the drums again. Yeah, just Harsh Degrees and Alphabet and Snow Day, all of them, just the drums are great, and it makes you want to dance and jump, which is always good. Okay, next says favorite artist who is a member of 2 or more bands. So I'm gonna go with M. Ward. M. Ward is one of my most favorite artists of all time, and I love everything that he does. So he's also part of the first band that we saw, which is Monsters of Folk, but he's also one half of She and Him. And so I enjoy all of these projects, and mostly his solo project. So everything that M. Ward does, I know that I'm gonna like. Now the next one says Beatles or Stones, and I'm gonna give a very long answer just to say that I cannot choose. I was gonna say Beatles because I'm really into 60s music, and because M. Ward is heavily influenced by the Beatles, so if the Beatles didn't exist, then M. Ward wouldn't exist, and most music wouldn't exist anyway. But then I also remember that one of my favorite bands, The Hives, say they are highly influenced by the Rolling Stones. So I had the same like thought that the Hives wouldn't exist if the Rolling Stones didn't exist. So I cannot decide, and that's a really unfair question, honestly. Next one says, you found a bag of weed. What are you going to listen to? Now, I don't smoke, but I get the feeling of what the question is trying to imply. So I think that if I did smoke, I would listen to Syd Barrett, founder of Pink Floyd, of course, because it's folk and it's really chill. So if you're just gonna smoke and lay down and think about life, I think it's a good album to listen to. Number 12 says, an album from the 80s you still listen to. Now, fun fact or not so fun fact about me, the 80s is one of the decades that I don't really like that much, music-wise. I'm still, open to finding bands and artists that I connect to from the 80s, I'm sorry. But in my collection, I only have a couple of things, and I'm gonna show you just one single. This is Madonna's Papa Don't Preach and Pretender on the other side. And so Madonna's great, and she's a true pop artist, performer, icon. So I'm gonna go with this one, but I don't have the full album. That one was short. 13, an artist whose political stance has soured you. I'm gonna skip that one. I just went through my collection and I'm not sure if I even am aware of everyone's political stances. So I don't have any right now, fingers crossed. Okay, so 14, show favorite record label. So I'm gonna go with Dead Oceans. Dead Oceans has the band Khruangbin, has Phoebe Bridgers, and has Shame. So I love those three artists, and there was, of course, a lot of answers to have like Colombia for Bob Dylan or something, but I think that covered a lot of what I like. 15 says, a run of 3 great singles. I'm gonna go with the new Hives record, which is called The Hives Forever, Forever the Hives. I don't have it yet. I'm gonna put like the cover here because it comes out next month. I'm gonna have it soon, but I think that I have been building very high expectations for this release because the 3 singles that they have released I have loved and overplayed to death, which are Enough is Enough, Paint a Picture, and Legalized Living. I love all of those 3 songs, and so I'm really excited about the whole album. Next question says, record store they purchase that you actually consistently listen to. This one is Scarlett Johansson's. Yes, Scarlett Johansson made music at some point. It's called Anywhere I Lay My Head. And these are Tom Waits covers. And this is a record that I used to listen to a lot when I was in, I think, high school, I want to say. And I really enjoy Scarlett's rendition of those songs. I love Tom Waits too, so her voice is like raspy and like really, really mellow. I think it went really well with the songs. And so sometimes when I want to listen to something really calm, I listen to this record. And this was released, I think, last year for Record Store Day on Black Friday. Okay, next one says, you can be reincarnated as any artist, dead or alive. Who is it gonna be? For me, it's gonna be Joan Baez. I think she's so cool. One of the coolest women to ever exist. I have never seen her live, but I would love to. I think she's extremely talented, extremely beautiful. I admire her a lot for how confident she was, how she was always willing to speak up, to speak her mind, and just her voice and her poise and her presence. Like, she's an icon, and if I reincarnate, I want to be her. Next one says, best 3 lines in a song. That is a really difficult question, especially for someone like me that really likes lyrics. And you know, I can go through a lot of Bob Dylan songs and Leonard Cohen songs, and Micah P. Hinson is one of my favorite songwriters. But I thought, okay, 3, because it's only 3 lines, not the whole thing. I thought of mentioning M Ward again. This time, the opening song for this album is called Poison Cup. And the lines say, she said, if love is a poison cup, then drink it up, 'cause a sip or a spoonful won't do nothing for you, but mess you up. Maybe that's more than 3. I don't remember how it's written in the stanza, but those lines are great. I mean, it's so simple yet so poetic to say, you know, love is like a poison cup. You have to drink it all, otherwise it's not gonna work. Otherwise it's just gonna leave you half alive. And I like those lines so much that I have a poster in my office with a little cup of poison. I chose that one for today, but it's a hard question. Now 19, it says, an album you never get tired of. There are many, but I recently got Linkin Park's Meteora, and I thought that this would be a great answer because this record came out when I was, I think, 9, around that time. Yeah, I was a little child, and I was obsessed with Linkin Park, and I knew all the lyrics. And to this day, I put this record on and enjoy it like the first time that I listened to it. And the lyrics are still amazing. The music's still amazing. I think it's one of the greatest albums from that era too. And so it still hits for me 20 years or more later. And finally, the 20th question says, your favorite vinyl community channel? In this case, it's very easy. I'm gonna say that my favorite channel is Moni Muses. Moni is a friend of mine. I met her actually through record collecting and through social media, which is one of the greatest things, you know, about sharing your vinyl collection and this hobby and this interest. So we realized that we are very similar in many things, in many ways. So I love her editing. I wish someday I would learn to edit and make videos as beautiful as hers. So of course you know her, but if you haven't seen any of her videos, go and visit her. She's great. And so that finishes the vinyl tag. I'm so excited. I have always wanted to do one of these, and I enjoyed myself so much. I think I did pretty well for the first time. It's hard to think specifically about each of the questions. Maybe I'm gonna regret some and want to change them, but overall it was great, and I hope you enjoyed the video too. Please follow me on social media. You can find me as The Arsonet too, and I will see you soon. Bye.